Hello everybody, my name is Cobra One. Airman Dies to Sig Sauer M18. Let's get into it. So this was a 21-year-old security forces specialist from Kentucky named Braden Lovan. My deepest condolences and prayers are being sent to your family. I am sorry for your loss. Located at FE Warren Air Force Base in Wyoming. Assigned to the 90th Security Forces Squadron. So, top Air Force Global Strike Command General, General Thomas Boussier, I hope I'm saying that right, ordered stop use of all M18 pistols and replace an M4 in its place. There's a full-on investigation going, but from the Stars and Stripes article that I just read up on, no criminal act or negligent discharge, meaning the user discharged the weapon negligently themselves, was at play here, led to the discharge of the weapon. Now, for those of you who don't know, there's two versions of the Sig Sauer pistol that was adopted by the military. There's the M17, which largely lent to the Army, and then the M18. So, use Glocks for example. M17 is like a Glock 17. M18 is like a Glock 19. It's the smaller version of the M17, but with a shorter barrel. So, largely the M18 went to the Marine Corps and the Air Force. Army mainly got the M17. I've only seen M17s from when I was on active duty. I've not seen any M18s in the Army. But, you know, both pretty much the same pistol. But, tell you something about the Sig Sauer P320, alright? That's a civilian variant. So the contract for the new Army pistol that happened right about when I joined the military was between Glock and Sig Sauer. Now, Glock has a trigger safety with no external safety, so that was the big push. Is the Army said no, it needs to have an external safety, even though every special operations unit in the United States military has been using Glocks widely and commonly since 2006, even though it's combat tested and combat proven. And not just United States Special Operations units. We're talking coalition forces. Like, every coalition force on the world is pretty much using the Glock in some capacity. It's the most widely issued police sidearm in America, is the Glock. Some people hate it. I don't prefer Glocks, but there's nothing you can deny about them. They fucking work. They don't ND. And they're reliable. And they are combat tested. Glock said, we will not change the design of our pistol to put an external safety on. Because, you know, since good old Gatz and Glock invented the first Glock 17 back in the early 80s, while there's Glocks have evolved to the Generation 5s that we're on now, you know, with the MOS adapter for, you know, your red dots, different sights, basically turning it into like the AR-15 and pistols, very ergonomic. They said, we're not changing the design, and they shouldn't. Sig said, we'll change the design. We'll add an external safety. The original P320, which is what evolved into the M17 and M18, had no external safety. And when Sig Sauer decided to get on their knees and open wide for the military, they said, absolutely. Now, you guys know I recently made a video on why the M7 is a terrible replacement for the M4 and M16. Well, I said in that video that Sig Sauer is money grabbing. Alright, there is a retired general officer who works for Sig Sauer from the United States Army who is the big push for the Sig rifle and the Sig machine gun. I'm not going to say the Sig pistol. You know, the Sig pistol was already way back in the day, which is how Sig got the limelight into their weapon systems, is the pistol. Now, when the pistol came out, I'll tell you something about it. I qualified on a Beretta M9. I did not like the Beretta M9. I did not like the trigger. You had two triggers, a double action and a single action. I did not like the weight of the Beretta. I did not like how it cycled, you know. I preferred actually how a Glock fired, believe it or not. And I'm not even a fan of Glocks. And I definitely preferred a 1911 over a fucking Beretta any day. But quad, whatever. When the M17 came out, everybody, like, we got brand new M17s with Safari Land holsters. You're talking, I couldn't even have a holster for my M9. I had to put that shit in my pocket and tie it down in my belt loop. They didn't even have holsters, which is bullshit. We get the M17s, we have Safari Land level 3 retention holsters. So meaning little latch that goes up, press a button, latch goes down, and then there's another button you got to press to unlock the gun. That pistol's not going anywhere. You had two 17-round magazines along with a 21-round magazine per pistol. So every soldier gets issued, that it gets issued, the weapon gets two 17-round mags and one 21-round mag. When I was in the 101st, it was opposite. They had one 17 and then two 21s, different units, different things. But you have large capacity 9mm handguns with SWIG holsters, which is, awesome. Looks sexy, so I was all for a SIG pistol. I enjoyed it. And when I qualified with it, I was able to hit top shot every time with it. One might say my training with a 357 Magnum and a 45 ACP helped out with that, but in reality, it was mainly the trigger was consistent with SIG. I liked the design of it, and I trusted it at the time. So I thought that the M17 and M18 were built different from what I understand. They were military issued. In fact, you got the P320 when you went to a gun store. You had to custom order a M17 or M18 if you wanted the military issued one. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's some quality control issues going on here. But this isn't the first time the Sig Sauer M18, M17, or the P320 has gone off. Alright, there's videos of people taking hammers, loading a mag round in the chamber, and slamming the back of the pistol and it going off. That's not happening on a Glock. That's not happening on a Walther PDP. That's not happening on my hammer-fired 357 Magnum revolver. Fucking revolvers have been around since the Old West, and if you hammer the back of my Smith & Wesson revolver, it's not going off because there's a transfer bar in there. This is a modern striker-fired pistol, and it's going off when you slam it with a hammer. Like, what the fuck's going on here? And in that video that I made about the rifle, I talked about how, this is going to get people killed because people are looking for money instead of effective weapons to use for the military. And, well, literally, a service member just fucking died because of this pistol. This airman, alright, Braden Lovan, instead of dying in combat honorably, coming home with a Bronze Star with a V and a Purple Heart to his mother, the Air Force calls her and goes, oh, hey, your son died because of an issued weapon that we said was good for the troops. We failed you, ma'am. We killed your son. Like, that's fucking bullshit, first of all. I just the fucking government, man. It takes people dying for them to get their fucking shit together and make change happen. I'm a small-time YouTuber. What am I going to do? Then you got pages like Cappy Army and US Army WTF Moments, and you got your different meme pages like fucking Fubar Actual, Dank Meats for Dragon Teens, and Fancy Bear, and they put out, and they do help, but even Jake, when I interviewed him, told me when he contacts these high-ranking people to try to solve issues, some of them are so hard-headed that they just will not change, and the only way is for them to see catastrophic failures happen, like, I don't know, the death of an airman to make things happen. Air Force is not taking shit. They're launching a full investigation. They stopped use of the pistol, like I said, but just the fucking fact that this dude died as a result of a failure on leadership, like, you got to take care of the force first, right? You got to use what works. This isn't working. This isn't the first negligent discharge in the military. However, this has gained a lot of attention because somebody fucking died as a result of it. Excuse me, not negligent discharge, but I have heard things like the Safari Land Level 3 retention holsters closing the latch up is sending the pistols off. There's footage, because out in the Midwest, 6 Sauer is a big deal. They had the P226s and P229s with Bob Hammers, and then when the 320 came out, they immediately went to it. There's footage of state troopers in Ohio walking and the pistol just going off in their fucking holster. And you can see clearly in the video that the cop didn't even touch his pistol and it went off. You know, as cops are having similar Safari Land level 3 retention holsters, you know, it's going off. I can't be too mad. You know, the government's a shady business when you work for them. But I just hope that the people in Sig Sauer that are veterans that really push these guns know, hey, congratulations, you guys got a service member killed. You got a young man who had a bright future ahead of him fucking killed because you guys wanted to make some fucking money. I can't even fathom just how pissed off I am. And everyone talks about the Air Force. They don't go to the range often, but this was the security forces. Now, for those of you who don't know, I target mainly Army folks. Security forces is the military police of the Air Force. These are the gate guards, security forces. These guys are at the range with the pistols more than any MOS in the Air Force, most likely. Of anybody, they are the least likely to ND those motherfuckers. All right, they're not some admin dumbasses that don't go to the range more than 18 months out of their entire contract, once every 18 months to the range, and ND because they don't know shit about their weapon systems. These are trained professional service members who know their weapon system and are ready to use it to defend the bases that they guard, and and to also defend themselves and their colleagues from threats because they're cops. They're military cops. Just like a street cop, they got to be ready. And now he's gone. Stop pushing a product that doesn't work and then lie about it and say it's making money. Sig Sauer had this issue with the discharges before, and they said, oh, we're going to fix it. And clearly they fucking haven't. Listen, man. The government can do whatever the fuck they want. Everyone said, oh, they're contracted, so they have to do it. The government does not give a shit about anything but the government. Okay? They can easily end this contract, say, fuck you, go with Glock, because Glock was the next lowest bidder down. Alright? Because Sig Sauer dropped the lowest bid and then said external safety. And adopt a weapon that works. Alright? There's plenty of Glocks in circulation, and frankly, the service members don't need the newest, greatest Gen 5 Glock. Alright? There's plenty of arms rooms in special operations units filled with old Gen 3, Gen 4 Glocks that could easily go down to the line. Yes, they're old, but guess what? They fucking work, they're accurate, they're reliable, and they don't negligently discharge randomly like Sig Sauer. There's a solution right there. And I'm not even a Glock boy, but at this fucking point, government needs to suck it up. The assholes in Sig Sauer need to shut their mouths, humble themselves, and realize that they failed. They need to push these weapons out and get the weapon that works. I'm going to leave a link to the Stars and Stripes article down below. Let me know what you guys think down below. I am fucking outraged at this. I'm kind of glad I'm not in the military anymore, but at the same time, everything's just falling apart these days. Like, this dude's gone. He's never coming back. And like I said, it's not because of some fucking unforeseeable, unavoidable incident in combat. Murphy's Law is a bitch. This was a company that failed to produce a product that was safe, and he's dead because of it. Listen, I'm a huge SIG guy. I love the SIG 226, the SIG 229. I've shot both of them. But they went the fuck downhill. I'm never buying a SIG product again after this. Fuck Sig Sauer. Once again, to Brady and Lovans family, I am sorry for the loss of your service member. No one can bring you peace, but one thing is that a community of people can bring you justice. Fight for justice. You deserve it. Alright, guys. That was my rant on Braden Lovan, God rest his soul. See you guys in the next one.